Hey everyone, Let's Lounge here. In this video, we're going to do a little bit of something different than we've done in the past. So typically what I do is we'll show you a really cool, simple technique in Final Cut, but this one really isn't just specifically Final Cut. This can be Final Cut Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, whichever one you use, whichever editor you use. But what we're doing in this tutorial is basically what I call dissecting the clip. So what I mean by that is I have a clip right here, this one right here, and you can see it's very cinematic looking. The colors are not normal neutral colors. The tone is different in the image, and what we want to do is kind of mimic or dissect the color scheme and the tone of this and apply it to another video. So we have this kind of city scene right here, and I want to make this just generic city scene look cinematic with the colors and tones like this specific video clip that I found. I just really like this. It's got that orange and teal look, and I just really like it. So I want to create a LUT that I can go and reference to in the future for my other videos. And what I want to do is just kind of basically dissect this, make the LUT, and then transfer it over to Final Cut so I can use it again. Now, spoiler alert, I'm actually giving away the LUT in this video, so if you want to download the specific LUT that we're going to create in this clip, go ahead and link in the description down below. It'll take you over to letslounge.com, and you can feel free to download it. No strings attached, no signing in or anything like that. Feel free to download it if you would like. So to start off this, what we're going to do is take these two clips, and so we have this one here and this one here. What I'm going to do is export a JPEG from these two clips. So I've already done this, but to show you what you do here, you basically just click on the clip that you want to take a JPEG from, and then go to Share over here and do a save current frame. That's what I have it labeled as. That's the default. If you don't have that as an option, you'll have to set up a destination to save a JPEG. If you want to learn how to do that, there is a link in the description down below to that video as well. So what we're going to do is click on that save destination. You can label it anything that you want to, but it will come out as a JPEG right here. Again, I've already done this, so I'm going to do that one to that one, and this same thing to this clip down here. So now that we have those exported as JPEGs, we're going to go over to Photoshop. And so you can do this in other editors, but I use Photoshop. That's the main editor, photo editor I use. So we have the images open in Photoshop in two separate windows here. So we have this one and this one. If you look real closely, the quality is not the greatest. I mean, it's just a 1920 by 1080, so it's not really a super high def photo, but we don't really need a really high def photo. We just need the actual photo for reference. So this is our reference image right here, and then this is our image that we want to kind of create the tone around this. So what we're going to do here is basically just look at this image and see what we need to do. Obviously we have colors that we need to change. We have shadows, midtones, and highlights that we need to change as well. We also have a little bit of fading going on. It's not as, I wouldn't say contrast. It's a heavy contrast. It's a natural contrast. We want to add a little bit of a fade in here, so you can see that the blacks are really black right here. We have a little bit of warmth lighting it up, but on this edge there's a little bit of a fade going on. I'm not sure if it's coming through on this video, but believe me, there is a little bit of a haze or a fade going on in this clip. So that's basically it. We need to correct the colors, all three of them, the shadows, midtones, and highlights. And then we also need to change the contrast, the natural contrast, and as well as give it a little bit of a fade. So what we're going to do is go over here, and we're just going to create an adjustment layer. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to start off with color balance. This is the main one that I use when trying to kind of mimic these colors here. So I'm going to start off with my shadows. And if we go over here, most of the shadows, it seems, are more in the teal color. That's what it seems here. So what we're going to go over here and go to shadows, and we're going to kind of play with the yellows and the blues. We can see we're getting a little bit of there. Maybe take the cyan down a little bit. You can see we're starting to get some of that color already with just the midtones. We can do it on the shadows as well. If we do it on the shadows, yeah, we're going to get a little bit too much. So we might stick with a little bit of the midtones So you can see right here, we're just messing with these two. We're not really worrying about the magenta. There's not really a whole lot in there. We can take the green up a little bit, but you can see it starts to get a little bit too green. So we definitely want to back that down a little bit, but really pump up that warmth. If we go back over here and just keep referencing, it's a little bit more warm. Obviously, it's a sunset scene, so it's going to be more naturally warm. So we're just going to play around with that and get those colors kind of dialed in here. Let's go back to the shadows. So we're adding a little bit more blue to the shadows, it looks like, and a little bit more red to the shadows as well. So right around there, it's starting to look a little bit better. You can see we're getting that look there. Let's go to the highlights. The highlights are actually kind of muted a little bit. We would see that the highlights over here in the sky are really dialed back a little bit. So we're not going to do a whole lot with the highlights, but just kind of mess around with that. Really take out some of that blue. So right around there. So for the overall color, we do have to play around with a little bit of saturation, but for the overall color, we have a pretty decent scene. So that is our color adjustment layer. So now we're going to go to our hue saturation, and we're going to take our saturation down a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And the reason we're doing this is because it's a little too punchy here, and we just take it down a little bit, and you can see that there are some colors here that pop a little bit, but it's not like super saturated. So we're really not going to worry about the saturation that much. So now what we need to do is work on the tone of the image, the fade in the image that I was kind of referencing. And what we're going to do with that is actually go to the curves. So one of the most popular kind of ways to fade an image like this, or a video when the final export is actually just to do one little kind of loop up from the shadow area. So if you've never looked at what curves mean, this is usually obviously referred to when you're talking about photos, but this kind of graph overall shows what is in the image. So this little area down here is the shadow area, going up here is the highlight area, and you can see the intensity of them. So we're going to create a little dot right here in that first box, the top corner of that first box, and that's going to put a control point there. And now what we can do is just take this handle down here and just drag it up. And you can see if we drag it up, I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit, you can see the kind of fade that he starts to give. It kind of takes the gamma away a little bit. So we're going to drag it down. We don't want that much there, so probably around there. Okay, I'm liking that one. Okay, so that we're good there, but we are going to add a little bit of levels here as well. Levels is another way of adding a little bit of selective contrast. We're going to take the black up a little bit, maybe change the mid-tone area right around there, and then play with the highlights here. And I'm going to go right around there. So I think for the most part we have our image kind of nailed down. We might want to play with the colors a little bit. So now that we played around with the tone, we want to play around and mess with the colors to make sure that we're getting the colors that we need in here to really bring out that orange and teal. But I think for the most part we are good. So we've kind of dissected that other image or the other frame from that video, and we've kind of created that similar of a scene with this image. It's not going to look exact, obviously, because the scene was taken at a sunset scene. As you can see here, you can just tell it's side lit right here. See the sun kind of reflecting off in the mirrors, so it's not going to be exact. It's not going to have that exact warmth to it, but it's very, very close as far as the colors and tones go. So that's what we got here. So now what we're going to do is export this as a LUT file, a cube file. Now if you want to see how to do that, what we can do is there's another link in the description to show you how to create your own LUT. But what basically you do is after you have all these here, you're going to go up to File, Export, and go to Color Lookup Tables. And here you can just rename it to whatever you want to. If you are going to play around with here, usually these are all checked, the formats. You really don't need all 4 formats. You really just need the cube file. And I recommend the quality be at 64 on high. You can do maximum, but I found for the most part 64 on the high scale is actually very good. Click OK, and then you can save it as a LUT file. So now that we have that done, we're going to go into our Final Cut here. And to apply it in Final Cut, it's actually different from Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere, you would use a Lumetri color. In Final Cut, you're going to use you can use any kind of third-party LUT plugin if you want to, but over here in the video inspector or the effects menu here, in the color section, we have a custom LUT. I'm just going to drag that over right there and go in here to our LUT file and choose custom LUT. And now we're going to look for our LUT right here. Again, you can download this for free on lutslounge.com, link in the description. Click open, and I already have it loaded in, but I'm just going to replace it here. And there we go. So that is kind of what we created there. So if we were to look at these two side by side, you would see we would kind of scrum over a little bit. We have this one and then this one here. It actually matches pretty well. So it actually looks really good, and that's basically what I kind of refer to as dissecting a clip and kind of finding your inspiration for your color grading. So really all we did was find a clip that we liked, color graded it ourselves, and made the LUT ourselves to apply to our clips in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this dissection series. I'm going to be making more of this because I see a lot of people wanting to know how to color grade, and this is obviously one way of color grading. There's many ways of doing this, but I found if you really want to have a library of all these cool little inspirational videos that you see all over the place, you can really download them and do exactly what we did here and create the tone and then export it out, and you have basically that exact same tone that you saw in your inspirational clip. So head on over to lutslounge.com, more fun stuff over there, as well as this free LUT that you can download, and we'll see you in the next video.